Do not adjust your internet television. As I, Dean 7904 here for Crunch Time. We got 40 minutes taking you all the way up the lock. Just a 4-gamer, a baby slate, if you will. Myself, Tasteful Tides, Tim, re-entry max, single game specialist. We have Chief. We got Will. I feel like I haven't talked to Will in forever on a show. Thrilled to talk to the Chief for the next 40 minutes or so. We're gonna go game by game quickly. We're also gonna break it down position by position, all sorts of angles. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on notifications. Join the show as far as questions. Try to keep your questions for later. We'll do our best to knock those out when we're all through and winding down the back half of this show. We do have all the injury news. Knock on something. That's where we're at right now. Donovan Mitchell, he did not let us know, but somebody let us know. Twitter let us know, I guess. He is not playing basketball tonight, so he's out for Cleveland. Additionally, who else was questionable for Cleveland? Oh, Hunter. Hunter is not feeling particularly well. He had the fish. He's out also. So a couple players scratched. And, of course, we got the news as far as Tyrese Halliburton about a half hour ago. Halliburton's in. McConnell is in. And, it's a sprint slate, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 4 games, 1 game on the TNT tonight. Just one, not a doubleheader for some reason. That's Milwaukee versus the Pacers. Tim, how we feeling? How are things?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Dean. I think this is like the first NBA slate that we're not waiting on any news. So, like just you said, just wait. But yeah, it's not looking like we're going to be waiting on anything. I mean, I do like the games tonight. Like, there's obviously one game that's like not great, but these games are really good for DFS purposes. So this still should be a pretty good GPP slate. Pretty straightforward for cash games, I think. But a really good night, I think, to maybe take some chances in large field GPPs to get different.
I want to bring Will in, but I'm curious, what game is not good? Because I mean, it depends how you.
Well, I was initially going to say Cleveland Brooklyn's really not that good, but now that we have that news though with Mitchell, maybe it's gotten a little bit better, but it's still not amazing, I don't think.
Yeah, Cleveland, they're in the driver's seat in the East, just waiting for locking it up officially, but they have the 1 seed, so. Anytime these guys are questionable, they're probably going to sit out. We're going to see guys sitting out, in a rotation as we close into the end of the season for Cleveland, and they've deserved it. They earned it, the right to do such things. But also, they're not playing their guys that are playing a ton of minutes either. Will, welcome. How are things? How do you feel about today's slate?
Doing pretty good. I'm actually. This is going to get interesting. I'm actually still building up until 7 o'clock today, so I'll be done before the show is over. But I think this is going to be an interesting experience because I think the viewers and subs and everybody that knows me will get a chance to kind of see where my brain is headed as I'm building. At some point, I'm going to be hitting the optimize button. I am running 150 tonight, so at some point, the optimize button will get hit, and we'll see what we have. And as long as I'm comfortable, then that's what I'll roll out. I think here's where I'm comfortable, D. You mentioned something earlier that I think is actually really important, or maybe, I think you did, and then Tim co-signed that. No injury news. We pretty much have everything laid out, so I feel extremely comfortable investing in mass multi-entry. When we've got 4 or 5 teams, and Tim knows this over the weekend, but we might not get news until 8:30 for a 9:30 game. At that point, I don't feel comfortable. But today, it is a smaller slate. I feel pretty good about going all in. So that's what I plan to do.
All right. Well, Will, let us know your thoughts as far as if you're hitting lock button on anybody. I don't think there's a lock button situation on this slate. Maybe I'm missing something, but if you're feeling bold, you're feeling frisky, or any X's that are important, let us know your thought process. The Wizards, Detroit, there are 2 games that start at 7 o'clock. That is the first one we're going to talk about. 235 is the total. The Pistons are 15-point favorites. We know the Wizards currently in the 1 spot in the tankathon. Although they're getting teams creeping up on them. They've won dangerously 4 of their last 10. And Utah and Charlotte are knocking in the door. Will's Hornets, they've snuck into the top 3. So shout out to you, Will. 235 is the total. Detroit, looks good against Washington. Of course, this game looks like a potential blowout. 15-point favorites here as far as who's in and who's out. We basically know. Well, I shouldn't say we know as best we can for the NBA this time of year. But as of who's in and who's out in this game, Brogdon is still out for Washington. Coulibaly is not playing for Washington. Detroit, nothing new. Everybody's good to go. We haven't seen Ivy in forever. Who knows when or if we will, but they have no injuries to report. Will, let's start with the Pistons and the Wizards. How you feeling?
I feel okay with this game. I definitely think Cade on a small slate is someone I'm going to be investing in. I just don't see how he's this low owned. So I think I did see somebody mention that earlier, but I think Cade is one of the top plays on the slate against a Washington team that's top of the league in pace, top of the league or bottom of the league in defensive efficiency. It should be a really, really good slate to get Cade in. I feel like I'm lagging a little bit, so if I am, I will get that correct. I'm looking at my box. It looks like I'm good, but I don't know why.
I think you're
lagging,
good now. I think you're good now, Will.
That will get fixed, Steve. But yeah, I'm feeling good about Cade. Okay. I think this game in general was interesting on this slate. It's a 235 total. Really close to the Milwaukee, Indiana guys like Keyshawn George continue to get stable minutes. We're seeing guys like Carlton Carrington get stable minutes, Alexander Sarr. So I'm okay with that. I do think I'm going to have way more exposure to a guy like Rashawn Holmes on this slate, versus some of the other center value, which I think Jared Allen's going to end up getting some pretty good ownership, and some of these guys from Cleveland as they should. But I don't want to overlook Rashawn Holmes. I think for tournaments, he's an interesting play, even in 20 to 25 minutes. This is a guy I think can get you 30 plus. So I plan to invest in him. Tobias Harris is secretly playing really well, Dean, from a fantasy perspective, like getting you mid 30s, and so at 5,700 on DraftKings, I actually think he's a really good play today. I think some people are going to gravitate towards some of the Cleveland guys, which I'm going to be doing. But I did want to mention Tobias Harris in this game in particular. I actually think he's a really good play.
Let's bring in Tim. Yeah, I think Detroit's much more interesting as far as this game than the Washington side. I'm only playing a couple lineups. I'm not playing anybody in Washington. Detroit, I might end up with 2, possibly 3, but maybe I'm going to cap that. Love Jalen Duren, and if I'm not playing Duren, I might play Beef Stew. I'm thinking about playing one or the other. One in one lineup and one in the other lineup. I like both centers here. Beef Stew is a potential cheapie. Cunningham is not going to get all that owned, considering it's a 4-gamer. Demolition Man Schroeder. I like Isaiah Thompson. I actually boosted him up a little bit as far as our projections. I think I'm playing at least 2 Pistons in both my lineups, Tim. Do you like Detroit as much as I do? And are you also basically ignoring Washington? I know you make basically one lineup. So are we crossing out the Wiz?
Yeah, I think that I am going to be crossing out the Wiz. I wouldn't mind maybe playing like a Keyshawn George in like a 3 max, like maybe 1 out of 3 or something like that. But no interest in Jordan Poole. I think it's a really bad matchup for Sarr. So I think George would be the only one that I consider for Washington, and that would just be like 1 out of maybe 3 lineups. Nothing too carried away, and I'm definitely not playing any of them in single entry or in cash games. So the Washington Wizards are a pretty easy cross off for me. Going to the Detroit side, it's Jalen Duren is my favorite play. Getting to quite a bit of him in Sims. I ran Sims just about 5 minutes ago, right when we got the update in on our SimLabs tool. So yeah, absolutely love Jalen Duren today. He's going to be popular. He's definitely going to be popular in the contest that you and I play in, Dean, but I'm going to eat that chalk in cash and in single entry. So I think the second, I do agree with you. I probably do want to play 2 Detroit players. It really comes down to, I think, maybe Malik Beasley or Tobias Harris. I have not played Tobias Harris. I don't even think I played him this season.
Yeah.
I don't know if I played him last season. I'm not sure. I have not clicked on him in quite a long time, but I'm considering it, and he's not simming that bad, really. I mean, he's simming pretty well. So
He's been better of late. Yeah, he's been a little bit. The
yeah,
price is pretty fair.
yeah, and if he gets 35 minutes, like he should be able to pay off that price tag. So I'm kind of leaning Duran and Tobias, but obviously you can always play Cade. He's 10-2. I think there's enough value that you can play him pretty easily today, but it's not like I don't think he's like a must play. I was expecting him to sim better than he is. Only got to like 20%, which is underweight his current projected ownership. So he's not someone that's simming like outstanding. There is a question in chat about Dennis Schroeder. I don't mind that play. I'm getting to about 12% of him. And that's like level with the field. So I think Schroeder is an okay play. But my favorite right now is Duran and Tobias.
Yeah, K-Town's Finest asking about Isaiah Stewart. I touched on that. If I'm not playing Duran, I might play Stewart. You know, as far as a chop of those center minutes, there are ways they can go astray for Duran if he gets in some sort of foul trouble, if the game blows out a little bit. Stu, of course, is another guy who can try and start a fight, or who knows what's going to happen with him. He's trying to start fights with LeBron and Steph at some point in his resume. But again, he's super cheap, 3.2K center only, which is kind of tricky. But I don't know if we have a big opportunity cost at center. I know Zubac's going to be popular. We'll talk about him soon enough. But yeah, I'm good with Stewart in tournaments. Love the Duran call as well. We shall move on. Shout out to our projection team. They did project the Cavs starting lineup correctly. It is Garland, Strus, Okoro, Mobley, and Allen. That is the second game. We're going to talk about the Cavs and the Nets. Another blowout on layaway, despite the fact that Mitchell is out. Hunter is out. 15-point is the current spread. As far as the other players, no Ty Jerome. That's another one's kind of important. So, a lot of guards minutes that need to be eat up. And that's why a guy like Sam Merrill is projecting really, really strong right now. Strus also interesting. And Garland, I don't know how much they're going to push him, but certainly when he's out there, the usage should be bumped up. He's been pretty horrific of late for what it's worth by his standards. Feels like a potential spot, at least to get a ton of usage against Brooklyn. Let's see, who's out for Brooklyn? Russell. They got to rest Russell. Melton, of course, is out. Tosan is still hanging out in the G League. I'll let Tim, you want to start the Cavs and the Nets. Is Sam Merrill good chalk? They have, 11 players. So if this game gets really goofy, he probably closes. I'm just trying to see,
I was going to say he probably is a mopper.
I think he's a mopper.
Yeah. And if you think he's a mopper, if you think he's a mopper, I think he is good chalk.
I don't think Dean Wade. I think if we're going to just pick from the 6 guys in the bench, I think Dean Wade's the least likely to mop. Right?
I agree. Yep.
So that's an extra out there for Merrill. But go ahead. So maybe he's good chalk.
Yeah, I think he's good chalk. I'm getting to him like 53% in Sims. He's going to be what is he projected on right now? Like 25, I think.
Giving it a refresh.
Yeah.
Let's see where we're at, because I think it's going to be a pretty big number. Garland 30%, Allen 27, Strus 22 and change on DK. Sam Merrill 19. I thought it'd be higher than that.
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah.
If he's going to be like not like super chalky, I think it becomes an even stronger play. Just because I think he does mop. He's shooting guard only, which kind of stinks, but it's okay. He's a really strong value today. I mean, there's very few holes for me to poke on Sam Merrill, just because of the matchup and the minutes. And he should come in a blowout also. So definitely, I mean, I kind of like him as like my favorite Cavalier, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously we can play Darius Garland, we can play Max Strus, like they're all fine. But they, they're not like, super locks in terms of like points per dollar. I'm interested to see the ownership on Mobley and Allen,
We got Allen at 27% on DK, Mobley at 22. And again, the minutes are not rising. We got Allen at 28, revenge game, by the way. Mobley at 30 minutes. And again, they're just going to extend their bench because this is what Cleveland's done. This is what they've earned. There's no reason to push their guys. But when they're out there, they should do fairly well. You could argue.
I guess what I should say is I think Merrill is better chalk than Garland.
Yeah.
I know that's.
What about Merrill
sounds
versus Okoro? You like Merrill better than Okoro?
I do. Yes, I definitely do.
I mean, he's a better fantasy player. Okoro probably play more. I shouldn't say probably. He likely plays more minutes. He does 1 more minute projected, for what it's worth. And there's another. I guess Strus is another guy who's shooting guard eligible. I mean, yeah, you can pick. Your shooting guard today can very well be a Cav in most lineups if you want to do it that way, with either Strus, Merrill, or Okoro. I don't feel great about it. Okoro 0.71 fantasy points per minute this season. Merrill 0.73. Strus 0.75. Strus and Merrill pretty reliant on their three. Okoro more of a defensive player.
I'm getting to 74% Strus right now.
Woo!
Yeah,
That's a lot of Strus.
Yeah.
You getting both Strus and Merrill? You getting some Strus at small forward?
Yes.
Okay. We'll jump in here. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to have tons of Garland, tons of Allen, tons of Mobley along with the field. I feel like in this particular situation, I just don't want to ignore the guys up top. And I know you mentioned Garland, but I mean, this is a spot where essentially I feel like 35 is kind of where he should end up as a floor. And then he's probably got a ceiling of maybe 45, 50 in this game, considering he should, take a few extra shots, maybe have a few more opportunities. So Darius Garland's definitely a guy I'm going to load up on, try to be well over the field on him. Love Strus, love Sam Merrill, who's cheap, who can probably help us get off of some of this Carlo Matkovic chalk. So, maybe we could do a swap there and kind of build some different type of lineups. But all in all, I think these main guys from Cleveland and add in Merrill, add in Strus, those are your guys. I don't want to play Okoro for what it's worth. I think Okoro is bad chalk even on a 4-game slate. But man, if he somehow squeaks his way to 19, is that enough? I don't know. It just depends on how this slate goes. So I think with me running 150, especially since the optimizer does not want to cooperate because I had a really tight pool, I may have to just get a pinch of Okoro in there. So I'm adding him back into the pool now. But yeah, that's where I am currently.
Do you have any rules, Will, as far as you're putting any sort of restrictions or no more, no less, one of those three guys? Anything you're putting there as far as rules for the Cavs?
I think I'm going to try to have a rule of no more than 3 caps. Does that make sense? And that way, if maybe I get Garland. If I end up with Garland, Mobley, Allen, then I'll just have to end up with that because I don't want to end up with too many Strus, Okoro, Merrill lineups. Does that make any sense? Like all 3 of those guys, I don't think get there. I think it's 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, you could put those 3 as a limit and maybe cap them at 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But
yeah,
I'm getting to 1% Okoro and Sims.
Yeah, I don't want to play him.
Yeah.
I'm
borderline like just not planning to play him. Like I hate playing bad chalk. Like even if it's a small slate, I'm sitting here. He's probably going to play. I mean, even when he gets 30 minutes, that's not guaranteed that he's going to do anything. Like it's not. But
he's only projected for 6% though. Will.
Yeah,
I know. Once again, he's in there right now. I don't want to play him. My heart doesn't want to play him. My head is put him back in this pool. My heart is just wants to hit the X button. Yeah,
I got.
He's an 11% usage guy. He's not the greatest shooter. Like, what is the path he beats you? He goes 3 for 4 from 3 and has like 4 or 5 stocks. Like, can that happen? I guess, but it's unlikely. I don't see getting beaten by him. There's certainly chances. There's many sims where he's fine, doesn't hurt you. But I don't think he's like something like, man, if only I played Okoro, I would have won tonight.
Right.
I don't think that happens very often, if ever. All right, we should scoot along because we got 2 more games.
I had played Okoro.
We got 2 more games to knock out. I want to see if we can do a little the crunch time deal of going position by position, but We'll have to do that like just our favorite player at each position, something like that, because we only have 22 minutes. I want to try to get some questions in from the chat. I also want to let the chat know, hey, hit that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications, help us keep the lights on. Also want to shout out Shot Quality, the Shot Quality team. They've cooked up something special for the NCAA tournament. You guys have heard of it. March Madness is a March Madness primer. It is a comprehensive betting guide with actionable insights into all 68 tournament teams. The primer is powered by Shot Quality data and includes features like player profiles, rankings for key metrics, as well as live betting charts. Much more than that, every purchase of a monthly or annual Shot Quality sub will come with a complimentary primer. That data analysis normally costs less than $40, $39 and change, but you're getting that for free when you sign up. All right, check out the links in the description. 2 more games to go. This is the TNT game. It's Milwaukee. It's Indiana. 238.5 is the total. High and tight. Milwaukee just a 1-point favorite in Indiana. Indiana, we just got the news that Halliburton is in. We got TJ McConnell good to go. So as far as body parts that we're monitoring, there's none. Everybody else is good to go. Of note for Milwaukee, Giannis officially probable, as he always is. I assume he plays. Pat Connaughton is questionable with a calf strain. That doesn't really matter. Bobby Portis, of course, still suspended. Bucks, Pacers. I think I'm going to play Giannis. I think I'm spending it for Giannis. I think that's a big decision point. I'm not making a lot of lineups. I think he is the top player on the slate by, 5-10 points at least.
Yeah, I was close to a lock button on Giannis. I'm not there, admittedly. I am above the field currently. I think I'm going to try to get in a little bit more before lock. I've already got my spreadsheet set up, D. So all I got to do is, hit a button, import, export. I'm done. Currently, I will say this. Sorry, I'm not trying to take us off track. Currently, I do have more K than Giannis, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So for what it's worth, I do have more K than Giannis. But I am trying to get more of Giannis because I do think he could absolutely be the highest scorer on the slate. So that's someone I'm very interested in. Additionally, I feel like for the Bucks, we haven't seen the Brook Lopez game in a while. I want to hold out some hope here, Tim, that our boy Brook Lopez can get back to doing Brook Lopez things. Maybe he can't, but on a 4-game slate, I think I'm willing to roll the dice just a tad. Considering, this is a guy that could go for 35. He goes for 35 on this slate. We're getting close to, I think, being in the money here. So I do like Lopez, trying to get a little bit more of him in there. I thought about fading Dame. I'm not going to do it, but I don't know if I need Dame today for what it's worth. And actually, I didn't fade Dame. Sorry, I did fade Dame, but I'm just kind of matching the field there, so I'm okay with Dame. All in all, Milwaukee for me, it's Giannis, it's Brook Lopez, sprinkle of Dame. I'm not playing Gary Trent. I'm not playing Kevin Porter. I'm not playing anybody else. I'm not playing Dorian Prince. I've hit the X button on those guys.
Speaking of Porter, I wanted to mention for Cleveland, we're talking about moppers. Craig Porter is somebody I think you should have your pool if you're running 150. He's a guy that could really excel if this game gets goofy in the fourth quarter, and he's 3K stone min. And again, Cleveland is they just want to get to the finish line and get their guys healthy. So I can see him playing, 20 minutes or so, possibly more, if this game gets really ugly against Brooklyn.
That's a really good call, Dean. He's already projected for 16 fantasy points. So.
I like it. If you want to play the, don't play Garland with them,
Right.
Probably don't play Jared. You probably don't play the starters with him. If you want to play Strus with him, you can. If you want to play, actually, maybe what I'm going to do is play Merrill and Porter together.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, might do that and just play no other Cavs and see what I get with that. Just wanted to circle back on that.
Full disclosure, I probably am going to play one Cleveland starter, but I don't mind that Merrill Porter pairing in GPPs.
How about Milwaukee, Indiana? Guys, for what it's worth, I'm getting the more Garland and then Detroit as a secondary. Just so you guys get an idea of kind of – so, like, if the field is playing 3-4 Cavs, most of my lineups are going to have 3 or 4 Pistons. if that makes any sense. Hopefully you guys get what I'm saying there.
Yeah. Tim, Bucks, Pacers?
Yeah, I mean, I think this game is going to be fairly contrarian because people are going to load up on Cleveland. They're going to load up on the Clippers, most likely, and probably Detroit. So this game is going to go probably somewhat under-owned. I really, you guys are talking about locking in Giannis. He's not in my build currently right now, but I obviously don't hate the play. It's a really good matchup for him. So Giannis, not simming amazing, but basically level with the field. So I don't mind Giannis. I really like Dame. I like Dame more on FanDuel, but still I don't mind him on DK. I think Dame's a really solid play today. So I don't mind paying $9K for Damian Lillard tonight. I just think this game's going to get squeezed in terms of ownership just a little bit. So getting to guys like Lillard, Halliburton, I think, is a pretty good contrarian play also. Other than that, though, some of these cheaper Pacer guys, I don't have much interest at all in.
All right. Anything else of note that we should point out here as far as Milwaukee? What do you got, Will?
Well, Dean, yeah, this is more about this game, but just my approach in general. Since we have 4 games, I know we got one more to cover, but I bumped Giannis's projection like manually myself. So I didn't bump his minutes. I just bumped his projection to 60. So I think our projection had him. Let me check. I got to go back and check. I think around 57 or so. Is that
yeah?
What
I bumped him up as well to 61.
Yeah, I manually bumped him to try to get see if I could force him in a little bit more. And I think that's something that guys, if you're using lineup HQ, obviously if you're using the Sims like Tim, you can do a little bit more things too. But I'm in lineup HQ currently, and so I typically like to bump certain projections to kind of get some different outcomes. So Giannis for me was a guy that I bumped along with Cade. Like I bumped Cade to 55 tonight. And usually when I'm bumping, I'm not bumping like 10 points or something, but enough to try to get a few more lineups in to match the ownership requirements that I'm looking for. So just wanted to put that out there, especially on the small slate. I don't mind bumping a little bit more to get some of those results.
All right. Let's go ahead and knock out this last game. We'll go around the horn, position by position, really, really quick. We'll answer some questions in chat. We'll prioritize the Discord questions, RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. Clippers, Pels, another game that's not particularly close. The only one that's expected to be close is Milwaukee and the Pacers. Clippers are 7-point favorites in New Orleans. Who's in and who's out for this one? This is the front half of a back-to-back, by the way, for the Clippers. I didn't mention that. There are 3 teams in the back half. That's Indiana, Washington, and Brooklyn. The only team on the front is the Clippers. Island game for New Orleans. We did see Zion play 32 minutes last game. If that's the way it's going to be going forward, I think he's somebody you've got to boost up because we're currently projecting him for 29 because that's a medium projection. But, for the longest time, he was basically halted at 28, 29 or so. We did see 32 last time out. As far as the injury report, it's really, really clean. As far as the Clippers, no Simmons. Of course, Ben Simmons still out with that knee. Powell, we haven't seen him in a bit. He's out with a hamstring. Eubanks is questionable. Doesn't matter. Jose Alvarado is probable, available. He's got that hip with New Orleans. Of course, no Herb. Kelly Olynyk's got a rest on the Island game. And then you got Boston, who's still out for the Pelicans. Tim, Clippers. Zubac projects excellent. Jim Harden looks awesome. I'm curious your take as far as Jim Harden versus Cunningham. I think that's an interesting question. One of the potential cheapies, I don't know if he falls back a little bit, is either Dunn or Batum on the Clippers. That's our projected starting lineup. I mean, you throw in Kawhi. Kawhi, I assume, rests tomorrow. Just not that it matters, but just know that for tomorrow. Tim, Pels, Clippers.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation between Harden and Cade. I'm leaning Cade right now, but Sims definitely disagrees with that take. Sims loves Harden tonight. So obviously Harden is a strong play. I think I'm going to side with Cade and play Zubac alone, maybe with some Batum or Dunn. I never get Kawhi right. I mean, he's just been, he's
I personally have the X button on Kawhi, but it's work. I'm going full pay.
I mean, I don't blame you. I think it's an amazing spot, but I mean, you have to take stands somewhere. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not playing Kawhi tonight, but it should be a good matchup for him. So it's a decent price tag. I'm probably just gonna go Zubac and then one of the like value wings like Dunn or Batum. What are you doing between Caden and Harden, Dean?
I'm making 2 lineups, and because the lineup I have has 2 or 3 Pistons in it, not named Cunningham. I'm taking Harden.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm playing Stewart. I just made a lineup right now that has it's stars and scrubs. I talked about Cleveland, what I'm doing with the Cleveland cheapies. I also got beef stew in there, so I found a way to get Jim Harden, Zubac, and Giannis. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. You can kind of piece together my lineup there. I essentially told you, but I like Cunningham plenty. It's just my lineup construction forces me to go to Harden.
yeah.
Will, your thoughts?
So I know I'm probably lagging a little bit because I'm about to do an import. So if that happened, I'm sorry. It will catch up. I'm fading Harden and Kawhi tonight. Those are my big stands. Loaded up on Zubac. Currently, I'm running 60% Zubac tonight. Pray for me. If he goes off, I win all the money. If he doesn't, I'm probably in trouble. But hopefully, you guys understand what I'm doing. Like I'm sacrificing, basically Harden and Kawhi to say, hey, I think Zubac is the guy that gets there. Once again, and I do have about 30% Zion on the other side of that Zubac stuff. So
that's a big stand. I like it.
Yeah, that's kind of me playing the game there on a 4-gamer. I X'd out Chris Dunn as well. So I'm pretty much only playing Zubac from the Clippers. So this is either going to go really well for me or really bad. On the other side, I'm pretty much only playing Zion and only playing Carlo. I'm even fading Missy. I'm fading Murphy, Hawkins, McCollum. I'm fading all those guys. So, and once again, guys, this isn't me telling you to fade Kawhi or fade Harden. This is me just kind of telling you my strategy for a 4-game slate where, as Tim mentioned, I think it's important. You got to take a stand somewhere. That's my stand. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, 10 minutes until lock. Let's do this quickly, boys. If you want to stretch the FanDuel, by all means, I think there's something important to note as far as FanDuel, but just, be specific when it calls for it. Your favorite point guard. Just give me your favorite point guard, Tim, and then maybe like your ambitious one. Like if you want, like a 1 in 150, or if you're playing more than one lineup, that kind of thing. It can be a potential slate breaker or difference maker. Favorite point guard is who?
I'd go Cade, and then like a contrarian point guard would be probably Dame, who's going to be projected for under 20%.
Will?
Definitely Cade at the top for me, and then I think a secondary point guard. Definitely Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think I mentioned that when we talked about the Milwaukee game. I'm well over double the field on Halliburton today.
All right. Again, start loading up your questions there in chat. I do see one in a couple here in the live stream chat and the Discord. Point guard is knocked out. Let's do shooting guard. Will start us off.
Yeah. So shooting guard. I think it's Sam Merrill. Like that's kind of who I'm going overweight with. I think he's cheap enough. And then if we're talking about, getting ambitious, I have way more Aaron Nesmith than I probably should for this slate.
Tim?
Yeah, Sam Merrill is my favorite, and then as a contrarian play, I think Trey Murphy.
Tim, Garland, 40% projection on DK. I think he's an interesting fade.
I think he's a very interesting fade. I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, I like him, and again,
if you're playing cash games tonight, definitely play Garland. But in GBPs, I think he's a pretty interesting fade.
Will, what's your number as far as Garland? Did you give it? Did I miss it?
I'm at 60.
Okay, so you're going the other way on it.
But I like him a lot more than you guys. So
Yeah.
that's my reason. Yeah.
I mean, I'm currently sitting on a lineup.
I'm at 67 to be exact. Sorry about that. 67%.
Yeah, my single entry team currently has Garland, but I'm trying to make a switch. So it's pretty tough.
He maths out great. Yeah, the math makes sense. It's just I think he's an interesting player to get away from. Okay, let's talk about small forwards. Tim?
Yeah, so small forwards, probably Max Strus. I think he's pretty good chalk. And then probably go with man, Kawhi's opto rate is like amazing. So it's it's not really that great of a position.
Lineup's loaded, gents. I'm done.
Maybe Malik Beasley. I don't mind in GPPs.
I'm sorry. Will, did you do small forwards? If not, do small forwards, then knock out power forwards.
Yeah, small forwards for me. If you want to kind of play the game, because you can get Zion at both. I'm pushing 30% Zion. So that I got tons of him, and I got a ton of Max Strus. Max Strus, I'm pushing 50 right now. So those are two of my top guys.
Tim, power forward. Wait, yeah, no, power forward. Will.
Oh, sorry. Okay, power forward.
Yeah,
all good. I've got a ton of Carlo Matkovic. I'm just going to keep that ownership where it is. I don't think this is sneaky. I just think we're not playing enough of him. And Tim mentioned that's Tobias Harris. I got 40% Tobias Harris tonight for MME. But even if I wasn't, I think I'd have him in single entry tonight, just as a slight contrarian play. I don't think he's going to get enough ownership even in 1 to 3 entry max.
All right, Tim. Power forwards and center.
Matkovic, Giannis, and then center it's Zubac, and/or Duren.
Yeah, one of the Detroit guys. I made 2 lineups, one with Duren, one with Beef Stew. Will, your centers?
Yeah, so I'll give you my highest. Obviously, I told you Zubac. I'm at 53% on Zubac. Have a ton of Duren, have a ton of Allen. Sneakily, I've got Rashawn Holmes at 12%, which is probably a lot more than where the field is going to be.
I don't see that one. I'm missing that one, Will. I think you're on an island for that one, as far as I'm concerned. But hey, nobody's playing him, like you said. I think he's like 1% or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I said. Sneakily 12% on a slate like today, where he goes for 35. Hey, maybe it comes through for me.
All right, D-Rock in the Discord. Will, I'm going to give you the tournament questions. Dunn or Alvarado for DK tournaments?
Definitely not done for me, so definitely going to be Alvarado.
All right, FanDuel Cash single entry aside. This is for Tim. Halliburton and Matkovic versus Dunn and Kawhi.
Dunn, Kawhi.
All right. ASAP Chargers asking for the must play on Yahoo. I did not do Yahoo content today, and I'm not playing on Yahoo, so I don't have an answer for you. But I can hit the optimizer and see there's always a couple guys that come in at 100% because their pricing system is weird sometimes. $14 yesterday for Marshall. Kawhi, for what it's worth, is coming in at 100%. Harden 87%. Clippers, Zubac 73%. FanDuel Cash, Achilles. This is a 2v2, looks like. Craig Porter. That's dangerous in cash. 2v2, Craig Porter. Oh, boy, this is a gross one all around. This is for you, Tim. Champagne and Craig Porter versus Okoro and Schroeder.
Ooh.
It's gross.
I don't like any of those for cash games.
It's a Stars Cubs lineup, I assume.
I guess it's the second one.
All right. Let's see if I missed any questions here. I'm scrolling up. Don Yeezy's got a question for DK tournaments, Will. Alvarado versus Keon Johnson.
Equal in my book. Give me Keon Johnson slightly less on. Give me Keon in a game against the Cavs, especially if you're going to be playing a bunch of Cavs. I'll take Keon on the other side.
Tim, Hoosiers hang banners, DK large field tournament, 4,600 as a last piece. You got 4,600 to play with.
Which site?
DK.
DK. All right.
Yeah. I'll put that on layaway for a second, and I'll ask Will. CW89 is asking if Javonte Green is in play. You're making 150 lineups. Is Green in any of them?
Nah, I hit the X button on him today.
Jose Alvarado is the best $4,600 play.
Eric wants to know thoughts on Trey Murphy on FanDuel, Tim. I know he's not projecting well.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Will, Champagne versus Dunn for DK tournaments. JB is asking here in the YouTube.
Oh boy, I hate both of those guys, but I'll go Dunn there for probably more stable minutes. But I don't like either of those guys. Which is why I'm not playing Dunn for what it's worth. I have the X button on.
Adam wants our Jalen Duren thoughts. Tim, I think you liked him. I think we all liked it. Jalen.
Yeah, he's a really good play today.
Also, want to mention before you guys step aside, we're creeping up on lock. The golf show. You got Noto and STL Cards talking golf 7:15. If you're into golf, this is why you subscribe. You turn on the subscriptions. Hit the like button. You do subscribe, and you'll know you get a notification talking a little bit of golf, which I guess kicks off tomorrow. Who's breaking the slate, boys? Will, who's your slate breaker?
Oh man, give me Zion Williams sneakily last late game of the night.
What is his ownership like less than 10%? I think it is, right?
9. It's low.
Yeah. He's an interesting one because again, we're just giving him 29 minutes, but he certainly can play 31, 32. Now I think he's an interesting play, and I'm
8%,
kind of bummed
8.7 to be exact, Dean, in terms of a projection.
I'm kind of bummed I don't have him in one of my lineups. Tim, C, Zion, and Rays Will.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot chalkier than Zion, but I'm going to go with Cade.
All right. Well, I'm playing. I got Craig Porter on one of my lineups, and I got Stewart as well. Beef Stew. Did I play them together? I think I might have. Just sort of selling the potential blowouts. But all right, that's it. That'll do it. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on notifications. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Tomorrow night, I imagine it's a big boy slate because it's just an uneven week for basketball. We played 12 games yesterday, 4 today. It's probably a slew tomorrow. We'll be back at our normal time, 5 o'clock on the East Coast. That's it. Do appreciate it. Y'all have been crunched. We're out of here. Oh!